Welcome back to We Are Live. We're live in Grand Center at Midcoast Studio, midcoast.media for more information. Travis, Chris Gardner, my name's Chris Denman. We have a very special guest in studio. Travis, are you excited? I can tell. You're getting up there. You're pretty hyped.
Chris, I try to keep professional around.
Oh, you do?
other
Okay.
celebrities, So
Wow. All right. Well, that's something. Brian Owens joining us in studio, local artist and activist, everything, man. You're kicking ass, man. You have a huge show coming up. Michael McDonald, Kennedy
Yes.
Holmes. This is
Yes.
a big deal,
Yeah.
almost as big a deal that you're here today with us. I mean, that's kind of a big deal for you, correct?
Bucket list.
Bucket list. Yeah. I talked to your publicist. It seemed like this is pretty important to you.
I have a
so-
publicist?
Yeah, sure. Why
That's
not?
great. That's cool. No, I do. Shotzi, I love you, Shotzi.
September 29th
Yes, sir.
at the Two Hill Performing Arts Center.
Yeah.
This is a big night, man. All kidding aside, it's 3 generations of Ferguson residents with
Yeah.
Michael McDonald, yourself, Kennedy Holmes. This is for a great cause. This is just going to be an amazing night of music. You have 8 other, maybe not 8, 4 or 5 other artists on the bill as well. Who put this together at the start of everything?
Okay,
for
if it
this
works
big
out
bill?
really great, I did it.
Okay.
smart play.
I'm seeing.
If it doesn't work out,
First of all,
That's the part
do
you
you want to
tweet
be
out
on our
first.
show?
it was
full
my,
time? I
it
like
was my
this
team.
attitude.
It was my
your
team.
Okay,
No,
gotcha.
man. Like God's given us a lot of favor as an organization, and to be able to have friendships with folks like Michael McDonald is a blessing.
Right.
And 5 years ago, after Mike Brown was killed, on the parking lot of my church in Ferguson, we had this concert called Hill Ferguson.
Right.
And it was really cool to see everybody come out and just like kind of celebrate life, kind of mourn what had happened, and then also kind of, the whole premise was we wanted to bring people together to sign up to work with the Ferguson Youth Initiative.
Right.
Because we were like, the way forward is to get engaged and involved with our young people.
Right.
So fast forward 5 years, we're at the 5-year anniversary, and our organization has grown, and actually it became an actual organization
Right.
since then.
Right.
That takes a while,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. And so, looking at it now, our whole thing is not just to be an organization that, is a nonprofit that raises money to do our own work. The biggest thing for us is our work, we feel like, has been assigned by God to like pour back in. So it's not just about us raising money so that we can do what we do. What we do is tied and connected to the community and the young people and our partners, which we have many.
Right.
So, being able to like put something like this together takes a whole lot of favor and friendship,
Right.
and people being willing to get involved and be engaged. I mean, there's several facets to this night that I think are going to be unique, and I don't know, I'm excited about people seeing what's on the stage.
Right.
Absolutely. So I told you a little bit about it. Again, September 29th, 7:30. You guys can go to lifeartsinc.org. The full bill. Brian Owens and the Deacons of Soul. Kennedy Holmes. Kennedy Holmes, you've heard of her, correct?
I have.
She's crushing it, man. Peter Martin, Flow Artist Collective, Shedrick Mitchell, Voices and Strings for Life. Again, this is a big deal. And then Michael McDonald also. And you're going to be on stage at the same time as Michael McDonald and Kennedy, right? Like that's do you like the collaboration aspect?
I mean, okay, so
I like that. This is coy. He's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
It's gonna
yeah.
be so difficult, and then you're gonna get up there, and then you're gonna clown because that's how you're supposed to do
I
it.
mean, look at it. I was like,
Do you have a good Michael McDonald impression?
sure. No, but like,
That is so good. That was
but not
kinda
as good as him. So the interesting thing about
You think
it
you're going to
is
give us
that-
half a second of that?
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
I need like 30 of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
No, I'm
I
not
need-
doing that, man. I'm not doing that,
Travis
man.
and I probably both have
I'm not
our.
doing it.
Do you have that? There he goes. There. See.
I don't do a good. I
Cleanse
don't,
our palate, man.
I don't do a good. So, Michael.
Taking it to the
See, now he's a friend of mine. So Michael is like.
He's like, I'm
for,
gonna need
for
you to
me,
stop
for
that.
me and the Deacons of Soul,
Yeah.
when we're on tour, especially driving, he's the guy that we impersonate the most.
That's
You
fine.
have
I mean,
to.
and just in terms of like going through his catalog.
But
and
you're
just, like,
good singers, so it
Yes,
sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah,
right?
but it doesn't sound like him, man. It doesn't sound like him. I mean, I've been doing tributes, right, for the last, maybe almost 5 years now, where
Right.
just so I can keep my chops up and do other stuff because we do a lot more, original music, whether it's like, Johnny Cash or, Sam Cooke and Ray Charles.
All
I've done-
available on Spotify, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah. So I've done these tributes, and but being able to actually tribute someone who's living,
Right.
and who has had a profound effect on me musically and in
Right.
my career, who is also from the town that I live in. Come on, man.
How did that relationship start?
So when I did the concert on
Big
the parking,
Doobie Brothers
on
guy?
Yeah. No, like, well, I was. So we'll backtrack. So we got time.
Yeah.
So when I did the concert on the parking lot of my church 5 years ago, Michael McDonald's best friend, Dan Duncan, and his wife Dana were there because
wow.
because Dana was heavily involved and still is heavily involved with the Ferguson Youth Initiative.
Oh, wow.
And from there, she's like, you should get him to. He worked for the NCADA, and they were having an event the following year. They were having their big concert, and he was like, hey, would you want to open? I remember that phone call. He called
Oh,
me. He was
wow.
like, you ever heard of Michael McDonald? It's like,
Yeah.
yes. And you can kind of see where the conversation is going. I was like ramping up, and I didn't want to be too excited.
Right.
I was like, yeah. He's like, well, we're doing an event next year, and I'm like, yeah. It's like, I don't know, like I have to get it clear with him. But would you want to open? And I was like, yes. He's like, well, it won't, it won't pay a whole. I'm like, dude, I'll pay you. Like, it's fine. Like, you don't have to pay me.
That's awesome.
So we did the event, and then I ended up doing some shows with him that fall, opening for him on the, for some shows, and then, ever since then we've been, building a relationship.
Right.
The following spring, he sang on a song that I wrote,
Right.
on my Soul of Ferguson record, and I mean he's been really generous and just kind of pouring into me about several things, just
Right.
industry or opportunities. We just did back in I think it was April. We recorded something with David Sanborn called the Sanborn Sessions.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Which is coming out, I think, end of this month, beginning of next month.
Okay.
Who David's in town tonight, by the way.
You have a
Sold Out
lot
show.
going on, man.
Yes.
You really do. New album?
Yes.
What's that process like? So you said you've done the covers. I've heard the covers. Pouring everything into brand new album while you also have some other good things happening. I mean, is it just all systems go? Is it try and get every single person on the planet to listen to it? Is it you're happy it's release time and it was a tough job to get finished with it? Where are you at right now in your head with the new album?
Yes.
I was speaking to his heart the entire
All
time.
of the above.
All of the above.
It's it's an interesting balance between the show that we're doing and releasing my record and releasing the music for Flow Artist Collective, which is the artist that I'm developing,
Right.
and Life Creative Group, which is our new label. So, finding synchronicity and synergy. Synchronicity?
It works.
Okay. Finding
Yeah.
synergy.
I don't think you know where you're at. We're
yeah,
totally
yeah,
fine with
yeah,
that.
Yeah, across
We do a
all of
segment
those.
each week because we mess up words, so you're
So,
good.
so let's find a misuse for synchronicity.
Okay.
And that's it.
I like that.
Hey,
I'm
are
down
you
with
gonna?
that.
Yeah,
I've got top 10 ways to misuse synchronicity.
That
right. Synchronicity would be a nice drink too, right? Can I get a synchronicity
So
while I'm watching Brian Owens, right?
that's
Travis?
ignorant.
Yeah. Okay. On the rocks.
Synchronicity on the rocks.
That could be the remix album. We'll see.
Hold the confusion.
Let's go.
No, but it's like, everything is so different, and I think on one hand it's a lot of fun. Like we just produced a video last Monday for this song called Glory. It's a single that's out on Flow Artist Collective that's all about Bob Gibson. So we have an EP that's coming out that's all about Bob Gibson,
that's pretty
right?
dope.
And the video is stupid, is by a young up-and-coming videographer named Mike Bland. Ridiculously good video. And then we just put out yesterday an excerpt from a visual EPK that we did in partnership with the Pulitzer Arts Foundation and Maryville University. We scored an exhibit 2 years ago called Blue Black. And
Who's heading this up? Are you taking these meetings? Who's doing this? What's going on? I need to know what's happening with you. I go from not knowing who you are to getting your website and being like, oh, gee, my God, you have a lot
Well,
going on.
here's what happens, man, and I believe this. Here's what happens. Like, none of this stuff in my life happens because I was looking for it. It's like God just kind of goes, okay, I'm gonna send you over there, and I go, why? Like, that has nothing to do with music, and he just go over there. And then I go over there, and I'm like, oh, okay. So like, so much of it is like, music is just a soundtrack for something that's much deeper and much more broader that's happening like in the community. And we always say it, like, we just want to be a soundtrack for the movement. And I think that's kind of what's evolving and what's developing. I mean, there's so much going on right now, and the tendency is to always think, and I would caution all young artists and creatives to not get caught up in, being a slave of the moment and of your own, the hype of your own expectations. Like, oh, this is gonna be the one. Or when people say, man, I heard this song, man, this is your breakout. This
So
is
and
that.
so retweeted me.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, like, man, I've been on a 7-year grind,
Right.
a
Yeah.
10-year journey,
Right.
a 15-year development. It's
Right.
like, I don't know when or if things are gonna hit, so they have to have a meaning that's intrinsic to what I'm doing, that's bigger than like, well, this only has meaning if it has this type of outcome.
Right.
It's like, no, the thing in and of itself has meaning regardless of what the outcome is. So that's for me the way I'm like trying to find synchronicity.
Nice.
In,
Two, please.
In all of those, in all the things that are happening.
Was that a philosophy you developed just through experience, or was that something that maybe you had in mind before you got into the industry?
I've had to learn it. And a lot of the perspective just comes from my father,
Okay.
both my father in heaven and my father here on earth.
Right.
My dad's really helped me to always, see things in the bigger picture, like the 50,000 foot view.
Right.
And because of that, even when, like in 2010, I had a failed tour. It was bad, right?
Give us some details on the failed tour. I
Okay.
like these,
Yeah,
I like these stories.
Well,
Are
I'm
you
just
ready for
curious. I don't
this?
know what constitutes failed tour. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
curious
this is what constitutes
sounds.
failed
Okay.
tour.
Right.
We initially booked 10 cities. I only did 4.
Okay.
Okay. Of those 4, the biggest audience I probably had was about 70 to 80 people. I played a show where there was more people on the stage than there was in the audience.
Were you on the hook for all those people's?
And I was on the hook. And I was on the hook.
Oh my! So that would
And,
definitely constitute.
yeah, I was on the
I didn't know
hook.
that part would certainly be.
Yeah, so
okay.
Yeah. So in 2010, this
Oh
happens.
my.
I had to eat a lot of humble pie. I had to repent
And
about a lot
ramen.
of stuff. I had to let some stuff go.
But
And
was it a matter of just you being new to it, or a matter of like just bad decisions?
It was me getting ahead of God's plan for my life. It was me saying,
Okay.
no, this is going to happen. No, see, all this stuff, this is the time. This is the time. He's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. And I'm like, yes, it is. And he's like, okay, go ahead.
But at that point, I would imagine though there was something that said that wanted to make you go and run the work that you had put in so far. Did that give you at least the confidence to say, well, I can do a 10-city tour and I can sell a good majority of? You were doing something at that point that gave you that level of confidence.
Yeah, but I had some people in my ear too.
Okay.
Let me tell you something.
And look.
This music business.
And
is
they were,
dirty.
and they were well-meaning. And they
See,
were
no,
well-meaning.
That's big of you to say that because it would be easy for you to look back and be like, oh, screw them. But then you think about it, it's like, I don't know. They probably wanted me to do well.
Yeah,
right?
they were well-meaning, but
Okay.
it was just misplaced. Like, and even though, and this is what I love about my father. My dad was one of the main investors, right?
Right. Oh wow.
Knowing that
This will fail.
this is probably gonna fail, right? He let so let's
Interesting.
get into so in the December 2010. This is where I am, man. This is where I'm at the end of 2010. The tour, like, I'm behind on my mortgage. Like, I'm behind on bills. I have 2 title loans that I took out to pay for stuff. Like, Like, because it was like, well, all we got to do is we'll make all this money, and then we'll be able to support these nonprofits, right?
I'll be laughing at them.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'll be able to support these nonprofits. I'll make this money. It'd be great. And because that was the whole point of the tour. The whole point of the tour is like, we always wanted to use art as a way to support the nonprofit work of people, right? Interesting, right? That's how this started. So, top of 2011, I literally said, I'm done with music.
Oh wow, you're ready to walk away
I was
from
living.
it all.
I was living in my friend's basement, wife and 2 kids at the time, living in my friend's basement. I said, God, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'll dig ditches to take care of my family.
Oh wow.
I won't do. I don't want to do music anymore. And I went to lunch with my dad. He asked me to come to lunch because I sounded down on the phone, and he was like, man, like, how you doing? And I was like, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah. I don't want to do music anymore. I'm gonna dig ditches.
Right.
I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
And he was like,
pass the pepper.
and he's like, man, and I was like, like, I'm sorry, like I lost your money and other people's money, and like it was just dumb. Like I don't even know. Like, and he was just like, I'm not concerned about the money. I'm concerned about you. If I was concerned about the money, I wouldn't have given it to you in the first place.
Right.
And then he was like, I would he said, just consider this. That's my dad's line. Consider, just consider. God's given you a platform that to do things in a way that not a lot of people get to do them.
Right.
So maybe it's not what you're doing. Maybe it's just how you're doing it.
Wow.
You need to hear that sometimes because that is saying
Yes.
That's saying you're not a screw up. You do have a great voice, and if you look at a different path, this could still be an end for you.
Yes. So what he was telling me, basically in that moment, what he was saying was, you've been focusing too much on the passion part of it and not the purpose part of it.
Wow.
And it was like, ding. And literally in 2000, so this was like January 2011. At the time, I was in the Air National Guard band, right? So they were talking about deploying. I was not going to deploy. I didn't want to deploy. Right? I didn't want to deploy.
Right.
But for the band that was going, I was probably the most qualified person to go and sing because it was a top 40 band. I was professional. I mean, that's what I did. I was professional singer. I was in the Air Force band over at Scott for 3 years, active duty. I was a professional singer. The other lead female singer was a professional singer.
Right.
So because of the financial situation I was in, and this is interesting how God works then, because of the financial situation I was in, I remember the Saturday I walked in, I was like, you guys still need a singer? And they were like, yeah, well, actually, the guy that was going to go from another band, he can't go now.
What does this entail if you take this job?
So, I mean, so I was what they call the weekend. No, it's like a weekend warrior, right? Like 1 week a month, 2 weeks in the summer. So it meant that I would go over for 6 to 8 weeks and play for the troops.
Travel to bases.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So this is
in the desert.
Yeah. So this is February 2011. I said yes, and this is what happened. Number one, there was extra income because of all of the additional trainings and things that had to happen. Number two, it just so happened that band that went over there, the lead female singer, we were singing for the guys that did our pallets. She was singing Rolling in the Deep, which was a huge hit at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It went viral. So, flash forward to, August, September when we went over. She's singing on this video. The video goes viral.
Oh, wow.
We end up on Ellen DeGeneres. We end up on Entertainment Tonight. We end up on all these different places.
Insane.
And here's what's funny. I was not, it wasn't my time. Like, I wasn't the focal point. I was the dude doing all the talking. Like, I was the one.
Would she have been able to handle it without you?
I was the one giving the message.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you are, if you've ever been in the military, when you are part of public affairs and you're overseas in Afghanistan and something goes viral, and this is like at the beginning of like what it meant to be viral, when like viral was like 1 million views in like 2 days.
Numa viral.
Yeah. You had to, like, it was like, you got to know what to say, how to say it, and say it quick.
I mean, these are talking points.
Yeah. Oh,
time.
yes, yeah, because you
Big
can't,
time.
so in that moment, I just remember my friend Angie, that was her name, Angie Johnson. She was just like, no, Brian, this is gonna be great for both of us. Because remember, I'm coming off of a failed tour. I'm like, man, this could be big for me, like my family, like the money, da 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 da. And the guy was just like, no, this isn't for you. And I remember we were sitting outside in Afghanistan on base, Bagram, talking. And she was like, no, this is going to be great for both of us. And I was like, Angie, this is for you. Like, this isn't for me. Like, God is that whole year for me was a lesson in humility. In, like, it's not about you. And you have to use the gift and the talent in the service of something greater and bigger than yourself. That's exactly what happened in that moment. But what did happen is I ended up being on a plane coming back from my training with a guy that ended up being one of my most, influential partners in the first label deal I signed.
Oh, wow.
Of course.
I mean, it's like there's so many stories like that in my life where it's
But
just
to describe that day, though, if you don't mind, like describe that day when, like, of course, you just went through what you went through.
Yeah.
And now you have sacrificed so much, not only for yourself, but for your family. And now you get to that moment where you get to that label deal and things get running. Tell me about that feeling.
It was crazy because, look, it was all about, like, I literally saw God provide provision in, like, 50 million different ways that I never expected. Like, I literally negotiated my first record label deal over breakfast. And all I needed was pay for the album and give me X amount a month as an advance, just so I can take care of my family.
Oh, wow.
So it literally
It's a great position to be in.
So it literally took care of my family. Wes Harsley, I love him. He's my brother. And
how was that feeling? Because, like I said, you were just at a table with your father, and now you're at a different table negotiating the future of your family and your life.
And
lack of a better term, you're doing it.
Yeah, and that album, Moods and Messages, which came out in 2012, my first that album was a catalyst for so many different things that would happen over the next 8 years.
Wow.
And I don't know, man. It was crazy. Like when we met on the plane when I was coming back from my training,
right?
From my combat training in New Jersey. We were both on a plane that neither of us were supposed to be on.
That's crazy.
I changed my flight, and he was running late. He almost missed the flight. So we're on the tarmac when we get back, and I was just singing because we had to wait. So I was just humming. I was singing.
Wow.
And I think somebody may have said my name or something. But when we got off the plane, he was looking at me. And when we got off the plane, he was like,
"Do I owe you money?"
Like, yeah. Do I know? He's like, "Are you Brian?" He's like, "Is your name Brian Owens?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "A friend of mine in Philadelphia is a fan of yours and told me that I should look you up and that I should."
Wow.
And I was like, "Okay, cool. Who are you?"
Right.
Yeah, what's happening?
Like, what you want, man?
Right.
Were you the horn player that I forgot?
Yeah. And then we started talking and found out that, like, one of my really, really good friends that had sung on, other stuff with me, her gospel group, God's Chosen, was signed to his label.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, it was just like, we just started talking. It's just like those are the kind of moments that have been happening in my life for the past, my whole life. But, like, when I look at stuff like that and just realize, even with this concert, it's so much bigger than just the people who are going to be on stage singing and performing. Like the opportunity to give back and shine a light on those in our community who truly are the champions and the heroes is what I'm most excited about. And being able to do that with Mike's soundtrack is going to be, what's the word?
Synchronized.
Synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
Synchronitest? No.
It's synchronistic.
Go ahead. Work through it.
No.
Okay. We won't move on.
That passed.
Yeah, that's gone.
We don't make too many requests on this show, but because you now have this relationship, like Gardner and I, we have a mouth band. We don't use instruments. We just use we're like pentatonics, but we do the instruments instead of the vocals. But we had an idea. We of course were going to do Lou Fest not too long ago.
Well, we had
Michael
a comedy
McDonald,
stage.
Yeah, and he was going to show up, and then we were going to get T-Pain because he was also going to be there. But now that we've built this
we
relationship,
were gonna broker a T-Pain Michael McDonald.
we were trying to, maybe you can be the broker to get Michael. We'll reach out to our people to get
I think
T-Pain.
T-Pain will probably,
want to
probably
talk
get
about
T-Pain
viral.
on the low right now.
Think about a gospel song with T-Pain and Michael McDonald. You can't tell me
Brian?
that doesn't get 50 million views at least.
We'll get you like an associate producer credit on it if you make this happen.
I'm Mike's friend. I'm not his agent. I'm not his manager.
Okay.
Don't make those calls, baby.
Now see,
No, sir.
As a friend, he's gonna
No,
go.
sir.
Don't do this.
No, sir.
This is a terrible,
sir.
terrible idea, Michael. Avoid
No,
these
sir.
human
you
beings.
don't know what I
Hey,
did at their studio.
Hey, you threw it out. You never know.
Do it out.
You
Look,
threw it
I
out.
spoke it into existence. So
You
now
know.
it's just up to
Thank
Michael
you.
to find this feed.
Right. Now, you're a collaborator. You did did you do the All STL review? Were you on the album with Al Holiday and those guys?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was
our
fun.
friends at Gaslight, I think.
Yeah.
put
We
that
did
together. Talk about that.
one of my tunes called "When a Grown Man Cries."
Very nice. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful
That's
song. Yeah.
How much of your journey is in your music? Like, it's really fascinating to hear about where you came from, because I think a lot of times, and we joke about it on this show, so I love the idea that our parents told us to go chase our dreams, but they forgot to tell us the part where people are going to consistently punch us in the stomach before we get there. And it's interesting to hear that you've had that type of support from your family, but and now you've gone through this journey where you were, as you mentioned, the lowest of the low. How much of that journey from where you were to where you are now is inside of the music?
A lot of it. On this next album, for sure, a lot of it.
And how important was that for you?
I don't know. I was just talking to Kevin Johnson about this a couple weeks ago. It's
Friend
like,
of the show.
It's like we were talking about Ferguson and the idea of should artists reflect in their art the things that are happening in their life.
Yeah.
And my take was, it's like I don't condemn anybody for not. My position is, I don't know how you don't.
Yes.
I find it hard.
Right.
I would find it hard to
carry that around.
to be able to not express in art in some way the things that are happening in my life or in my community or around me.
It's because you're truly tapped in. It's because you're real.
I hope so. A good example is, so I have a song on my next record that's going to be coming out called "Carry You." And the other thing about this next record is, like, I'll send it to you. Like, when you hear it, it doesn't sound like anything I've done, right? It's really me, which is interesting to say. Like, it doesn't sound like anything I've done. It's authentically me. Not to say that, like, the other things like Soul of Ferguson and Soul of Cash were not authentically me. They were authentically me then. This is authentically me in an absolute sense, right?
Okay.
And so there's this song on there called "Carry You." That song is probably the most autobiographical thing I've ever written in my life. It's about a specific situation that my family was going through with, he's like my oldest son, and, you know, just dealing with a lot. We were dealing with a lot.
Right, of course.
And the first verse is like, watching over you before you knew all the things that you would do, chasing the sun every morning, flying without wings, jumping over hills, nothing would ever keep you still. Let me carry you all the way. And it's just like, that's where I was at that time.
Oh, wow.
He was struggling hard with a lot of stuff. And we were trying to minister and love on him and just like be what we could for him. And many days we were at a loss because we're like, I don't know what to do. And so, like, that's the kind of stuff that's been coming out in the music.
Right.
You know? I don't know, man.
Do you have artists that obviously we talked about Michael McDonald. Do you have artists that you maybe look at or feel that they exemplify that on a huge level now? Like, is there anyone that tours on a national, international level that you think of, bam, that's either inspirational or kind of hits you in the same way?
Jonathan McReynolds.
Okay.
If you don't know who Jonathan McReynolds is, check him out.
All right.
He's ridiculous.
I almost literally. I mean, proximity obviously is playing into this. He was at the Fox last night. feel like Gary Clark Jr.'s new album.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
going
Gary's
from
doing it.
like, oh, he's
Yeah.
a fun, like, there's a bluesy kid from Texas talks
like,
about some stuff.
They're
To like,
talking about stuff.
there's
yeah.
some stuff going on, man.
Yeah. PJ Morton. I really dig PJ Morton and what he's doing right now. The great thing about music right now is I feel like it's like the NBA. Like there's a lot to love about it.
Right.
And
They're really shitty to each other in the
and
off season.
Yeah, and there's more variety. There's more variety now. You can watch more than 5 games.
Right,
It's you're like, oh.
All kidding aside, man, the NBA's off season and just the everything about it, just setting the tone for all other sports or anything. No, this is how you become interesting. This is what you do. I agree with the music part too, because you can find what you want, right?
Yeah, and there's so many, like, even in this town, like, I feel like, there's so many great artists and writers.
Speak to that,
and
because you're
producers.
highlighting some great talent from the St. Louis area, and that's always amazing to see that when someone makes it over, they're pulling people back with them to bring them up. So talk about some of the local talent that maybe St. Louis hasn't heard about.
I mean, well, okay, perfect example. So we'll go with folks who are from here, who are doing like major things outside of it. Like Peter Martin is Diane Reeves' music director. Shedrick Mitchell
Right.
plays with Maxwell.
Right.
Played with Whitney Houston. I mean, from Ferguson.
Right.
Coming back to play on the show. Sophia Nicole is another person, also known as Sophia Stevens. Like she graduated from McClure. She did Lion King Broadway. She did the tour. She's coming back. She's singing background, and she's going to be working with a school. Nobody knows that yet.
Oh, that's
Oh,
She's
wow.
she's
We just
be-
got an exclusive?
she's going to be working with one of the schools in Ferguson.
Wow.
That's
on their
awesome.
I think
Lion King
awesome.
production.
That's
So
amazing.
so
Wow.
So you have that. I mean, obviously Kennedy, who just blew up on The Voice.
Right.
Tyron Woodley did an album with Wiz Khalifa. He's
I'm just
Ferguson.
saying. Oh yeah, I'm just saying. Homeboy. Yeah.
He's got a rap album.
We
He's
got
gonna get real mad.
We got.
for
I mean,
the mission.
people like you may not know, like a Darren Jackson, like Pops Jackson, who plays with Good for the Soul. He's now the head of the jazz department at Omzol, but mainstay at the Bistro.
Right.
Like there's gonna be a gamut, and then new artists like Flow Artist Collective is basically a collection of young artists that we're developing through Life Arts and through Life
That is
Creative
so
Group.
dope.
That's going to be there. Maria Ellis, who has the Sheldon City of Music All-Star Chorus. The Voices for Life portion of that is basically the partnership that we have with that chorus. They're going to be involved. Suzuki Harmony and Gateway Music Outreach, Renita Lurman and James McKay, respectively.
That's a deep bench.
The building we're in.
Yeah.
There's a whole program here with the Kreuzberg Arts Foundation.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like on the stage at the same time, you're gonna have all these people, and and the 442s are gonna be there as section leaders for the string section.
Right. Now you're just bragging.
Playing with the students. So it's like, for me to be able to first of all, just getting all these people on the same stage is logistically.
I was
Beautiful.
gonna say
It's logistically beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what we call it. Not a challenge. It is
Wow.
logistically beautiful.
Okay.
Very positive of you.
Yeah. To synchronicize.
There we
Okay,
go.
now it is.
There it
3,
is.
please. Real quick, Abby in the comments saw Brian at Jazz STL. Great to watch. Glad you didn't give up on music. Our guy JB that I mentioned, Brian's skills, God-given, but his attitude and work ethic are what make him special. That is a very nice
Thanks,
compliment.
JB. Wait, we live.
Yeah.
Oh, people
yeah.
seeing this. I
Oh,
didn't.
yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, I'm
we-
not going to tell. Yeah, if you didn't pick up on that, you're bearing your soul
Oh, we're
right
live,
now.
live. Okay.
Live. That's right. Do you see these, Travis?
Yeah,
We're going to
yeah.
hand these out.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you
Here,
wanna-
hold this up. We'll
oh,
throw to you at the
oh,
camera.
oh.
Talk us through.
You-
No.
you-
This camera here.
Oh, right there.
That's right.
Okay, so you
Talk us through it.
want to see this show. Here's the other reason why this show is going to be really cool. So this is our first of what will be an annual community gathering. It is a benefit. So we're raising money for our programs through Life Arts, Leadership, Innovation, Faith, Entrepreneurship, and we primarily work in a reasonable radius of reach. That's what we call our location, 8 miles around Ferguson. That's our donut of focus. But we also are doing a give back. And the way we're doing that is we're going to be honoring two people. One of the people, we're naming an award after her, and the second person is actually the recipient of the award. We have not announced this yet, but I'm not much for like press releases and things like that.
Sure, your
although
publicist will
I love my
appreciate that.
publicist, Shotzi.
Sure, right.
Right. I say it's not our fault. We didn't
Some
say
things,
that.
yeah,
This
some
isn't
things
on
are great
us.
for
This
press
isn't on
releases,
us.
but like this is something that I'm just gonna say. The two people we're going to be honoring first is a woman by the name of Elizabeth Hutchison Ruggs. She taught in the Ferguson Florissant School District as a music teacher for many, many, many years.
Oh, wow.
As a private instructor for so many people.
Oh, wow.
Was music director for their Celebrate Children. She's just an amazing, amazing
Has
woman.
impacted countless
Oh,
lives.
countless lives,
Yeah.
Right.
countless lives, including those of her grandchildren and great grandchildren who still take
Oh,
lessons
wow.
from still
Oh,
take lessons from
wow.
her, and who happen to be dear friends of ours. We affectionately call her Grandmother Rux. So the award that we will be giving out annually for all time is going to be the Elizabeth H. Rux Champion for Life Award.
That's amazing.
And
That is really
this
dope.
year, our first recipient is a gentleman by the name of Todd Shelton. And if folks don't know Todd Shelton's story, Todd is a product of Ferguson Florissant School District. I think we went to McClure South Berkeley. He played football there. He went away to college, came back to coach and to teach, to mentor these kids, to pour back into them. This past, I think it was January, February, Todd was driving home with his fiance. Around midnight on Airport Road, somebody pulled up next to the car, shot into the car. Bullet hit Todd. He's paralyzed, right? So if that were just the end of the story, then it wouldn't be the story that we know it could be. But Todd is fighting to walk again. Todd's fighting to get back into the classroom again. And so this year, our recipient for the Elizabeth H. Rux Champion for Life Award is going to be Todd Shelton.
Unbelievable.
And that's why we want people to come out. It's not just to see Michael, which will be amazing, and to see all these artists tribute him, because that's the cool thing about this too, is it's these young artists paying tribute to Mike, and he's just participating in the tribute. But he's also participating in the celebration of these individuals in our community that really make our community what it is.
Absolutely.
And so, for me, like, that's kind of the whole inspiration behind this event, and having all of these different amazing artists and musicians on stage together to celebrate 5 years later.
Right.
Like, not just we've already mourned where we've been.
Right.
Now it's trying to celebrate a bright future through the lens of we understand the issues.
Right.
We understand the problems.
Right.
Now let's come together and celebrate this movement forward of how we're going to actually like overcome this stuff.
Gotcha.
You're doing some amazing things, man. This is so impressive, and just the fact that you, it seems like you've grasped all the negative and positive, and you're just moving forward. Like that's super impressive, and it's to include people from your area in that journey. I mean, that's what it's made of, man. Like that's what you're supposed to do. That's what parents hope their kids do, and it sounds like you're doing it right, man. You got kids? You got 3?
I got 7.
7 kids.
I have 7 kids.
You have 7 children.
7 children.
That's a hell of a. You've got a lot to
7
to
little
step up
people.
for, and you're.
It's a nice basketball team. You got 2 coming off the bench.
Yeah, 2 coming off the bench. Easy.
That's not
Hey,
bad.
do you think Brian would have an opinion on me in the 4th grade
About
about what we talked about last hour?
I'm scared.
So-
I'm scared.
we talked about a lot last hour,
No,
so
no,
I'm
no.
afraid to go.
Gardner, I think I need to ask.
When he was going to be the towel boy.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah. Here's a
Okay, so
lesson
here's
that
the
my dad
situation.
tried to
So,
steer me the right way.
My boy Chris over here.
Now tell it the
was-
right way.
He volunteered to be a ball boy for what
Our AAU team got to choose one person to be towel ball boy for what I thought was going to be the USA Dream Team. I'm 35, so Dream Team 2 when I was in 4th grade.
So he thought he was going to have an opportunity to give guys like Shaq and Anthony Hardaway like
Larry
towels and
Johnson was
water,
a hero.
and he discovered that it wasn't the Dream Team 2. It
After
was,
months of bragging
it was
to
the
kids at school.
the American team that was going to represent at the Goodwill games.
At St. Louis, right.
That's even cooler though.
No, not
So
the
he
fourth
said-
grader that was
so
expecting
on that, yeah.
Shaq.
So on the, yeah.
Oh,
so
you
he's-
haven't you hadn't had the perspective yet.
Yeah.
So you was just
So
like,
he was like, you had to go from Shaq to Marcus Camby, and he was like, that's too
But
big
this
of a
is nope.
gap.
We didn't know who Marcus
Speaking
Camby
of
and Michael
humility and a
Finley.
humbling moment,
Humbling
sir.
moment. Very.
David Stoudemire
Yeah.
turned out to be one of the guys on this team.
How many
Marcus
kids from
Camby.
Ferguson would have been appreciative of that opportunity? Thank you.
many, many.
I found out, and I said, I'm good. I think I'll go to the pool.
Passed up an opportunity.
I was
Damon
so mad.
Stoudemire was
Well,
on
but we
that
didn't
team.
know
Even
it was-
Marcus Camby at the time.
But we
was
Yes.
like Michael
Andrew
Finley.
de Klerk.
Andrew de Klerk.
De Klerk.
Cherokee Parks.
Cherokee Parks was on that team. And you didn't want
Oh
any of
man.
that.
I'll go to the pool,
man.
he said.
Imagine the friendship you could have with Cherokee Parks, right? You would love a Cherokee Parks
I could be
friendship
a
right
stunt
now.
double.
Bro,
Yeah.
that's a 2K all-time team.
I know.
I'm glad someone said it.
So would you have after that happened, if you were my father, would you have gave me the hey, maybe here's a better way to do it, or would you just backhanded me and said move along?
Here's a better way to handle it.
Okay.
I would have said, Chris. Okay,
Go on.
just consider this.
Yes, father.
just consider.
I'm considering.
And then I would have.
I have a bowl cut. Picture
know,
this. It's fourth.
you
It's
know,
1994.
1994.
I have a bowl cut. I'm probably wearing a pullover starter jacket.
Still angry OJ was innocent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm projecting. I don't know. You probably didn't know what an OJ was.
It was before he killed him. I was a big fan of OJ actually at the time.
I'm done. I don't even know what. I don't even know
See
what
what
it
you
goes.
did?
Smart man. Your
Yeah.
publicist taught you correctly.
Yeah, like
It's
yeah.
time for me to leave
Yeah.
before they ruin all this goodwill.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So-
Again, September 29th.
September 29th. Let me just throw out there too. I gotta give big shout out to the sponsors that we have coming on board.
Of course.
Least of which is not M1 Bank, Ken and Stephanie Poteet. Love them to death, brothers and sisters in Christ, and just always willing to come forward and help support the work that we're doing. The building that we have, we're going to have M1 Academy there. So we have a 17,000 square foot building in Pasadena Park that we're going to be building out as a community space, resource center, academy. All that kind of crazy
You gotta have
stuff.
us over, man. We'll have to come check it out.
Dude, like we're gonna have a podcast.
Are we friends
space.
now? Are we friends now?
Nice.
We're brothers.
Oh,
Wow.
We're brothers.
Don't
We're-
don't commit
I
just
don't-
yet. Just don't commit just yet.
Hey.
Just
Hey.
find out who he voted for.
Come
first.
on.
Then we can go.
No,
Then we can go from
no.
there.
You guys can come up and help train kids on how to do podcasts.
There we go.
Because you know how
Oh,
to do
gosh.
it. Look, you got the camera one
Oh,
and
wow.
two.
Right.
You can do the panning thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so we got them, and Arts and Education has come on as a sponsor. Christian Hospital is come on as a sponsor. We got Express Scripts that's come on as a sponsor.
I'm just
Heard of them.
picturing us teaching kids how to do. Okay, now you look in the
You can
camera,
totally do it.
and then you're a co-host. Now you yell at him about what he just said.
That's basically how it works.
That's kind of how it goes.
And
yeah.
you know what? And you know what? I challenge everybody because everyone has. Here's what I will say though. Everyone has had an opinion about everything that goes on in this city.
I remember- I
Everyone
was
has
like-
jumped on they go to
Oh,
St.
you-
Louis Post-Dispatch or they go on their Facebook page and everyone is complaining and saying, well, as a community, we need to do X, Y, and Z. Well, here's an event that you can
There it
put
is.
your money where your mouth is.
There you go.
If
Yeah.
you, at some point in your life for the last 5 years, have had a comment about anything that is Ferguson, well, how about this? How about you go purchase a ticket to this event and can support this cause?
look
So
at
I challenge people who have all
who
had
woke
something
up.
to say.
Yeah.
Well,
Look at
yeah,
this.
because this is an opportunity. No, I mean, it's Michael McDonald for Jesus' sake.
Right.
But also, again, an opportunity to truly
It's
help
nice to see you
kids.
embracing St. Louis again
And
after your
maybe-
3 months in New York,
I-
and it turned you.
Oh, look.
It turned you into
Oh, how are you
a
hillbillies
fiend.
doing?
No, it
Yeah.
wasn't any
But
of that.
he got a little baby opportunity to go right for Sesame Street. He came back with a real attitude.
It's not about that. Look,
Sunny. day.
exactly. See, look, we can relate because
Let's
I'm
keep
a
tricking
now,
him into singing.
now I'm a
It's great.
I'm a songwriter too.
Nice.
Now with my
Oh,
time.
no,
and so I
no,
understand
he's
the give
not.
and I
You
get the
don't.
industry. So it's
This
important.
man's
to
a professional.
Look, I came back. That's why I came back to St.
Well-
Louis to give back to my community. Look at Gardner. Look at Chris. I've given
We're not
them
your
so much.
community.
I've
Well, it's-
given
We live in the
this.
city.
I'm gonna
county boy.
I'm going to continue to try and trick Brian into singing. I hear you, Travis. It just sounds like for St. Louis, nothing can change this love.
Did you
I
want
got
to take
nothing.
it to the street?
You don't know me, but I'm your brother. Interestingly enough, the first so when I joined the military band 2001, when I joined the military band over at Scott, the first album that I recorded with them was called Taking It to the Streets. And I sang "Taking It to the Streets." I've met Mike, and what's funny is I'd met Mike.
he's Mike. He's
Michael.
Mike, Trevor.
I'm
So
sorry,
dope.
I met Mr. McDonald.
Actually, I call him Eminem.
You know,
Me and I met Bron.
Brian,
When we
Brian,
was,
Brian, call him by his the good name. On like two or three different times. Like the first time I met him was in 2003 on the set of the Wayne Brady show. So I did the Wayne Brady show as a contestant in this like singing contest that he had.
right.
And like on
So
day
now you just
on,
I
no,
have
no,
to-
no,
no. Now
on
you
day-
have to come
Video.
back.
on day
Go get
yeah
the
on day
video for that,
on day
please.
3 Christopher Cross and Michael McDonald walk on the set. And I'm like, that's Michael McDonald. And then 3 years later in like 2006 I was doing something with Peter Mayer, who's like Jimmy Buffett's guitar player, for this like Lutheran event in Texas, and the drummer in that band, his aunt was Mike's drummer at the time. So we went to the show for him and Steely Dan, and so I met him and it was like, hey man, and it was so weird. I'm like, yeah man, you're from St. Louis. He's like, yeah, I grew up in Ferguson, man. He's like, so we're talking.
That's a good
like,
Michael
it's like-
McDonald. I thought
yeah,
he was
yeah, so it's like,
here.
no, and then you know, you just flash forward, and I just have all these flashpoints. Flash forward to like April of, I think it was 2017. I'm sitting on my couch, and you know, I told him he was recording the song for me. I said, well, whenever you do it, man, just send me a video. I don't know when this is coming in. I get a video message. First of all, getting a video message from Michael McDonald is pretty cool.
That is pretty dope.
I still fanboy sometimes, but it's like
We
we're cool.
appreciate that.
And so I'm sitting on my couch, and I open it up, and it's him singing my song.
That is
And I was
silly.
for 5 minutes I was like, what? What?
That's weird. That
No,
would,
what?
that would freak me out.
And then my favorite word is dude, so I had a couple dude. Dude. But no man, like this whole night I feel like it's just like the culmination of, you know, 5 years of trying to see how we're going to move forward. And I think that this is going to be the beginning. This is a step-off point. You're going to multi-generation, multi-ethnic on one stage, you know, being the soundtrack for the celebration and for the forward progression of a city. And that's what we want to do.
But we thank you.
Well, thanks for
First and
having me
foremost.
on
Oh, no,
live.
no.
Live.
We are
Live.
We are live. That's correct. Real quick, Soul of Cash.
Yes.
What took you to that?
I was doing this whole series of concerts called the Master Series, and I decided to do one on Johnny Cash.
What's your favorite song is to do?
Oh man, that's hard.
I mean,
Sun-
it
that
hurts.
is-
It
Sunday
hurts-
morning-
it
Sunday-
hurts me to
Sunday
hear you
morning,
say that.
Sunday morning coming
Hurts.
down.
It's me.
Sunday
to
morning
hear you
coming
say that.
down, which is Chris Christopherson.
Yeah.
But he performed Sunday morning coming down. I love that tune. I mean, Ring of Fire. I love Ring of Fire. I love Walk
I forgot
the
what
Line.
that's. What's Walk the Line sound like? Do you remember that? I don't remember that song.
No, that's
Ring of Fire. That's
It's a burning thing, it makes fire ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. It's too early to go with that.
I know the acoustics
Yeah.
sometimes in here.
No, here's what-
I know. I get it because I do the same.
Well,
thing
he's
with
either
that.
an
No,
artist-
Travis,
the
you
reason-
do yours
the
now.
reason-
Travis, you do yours
yeah.
now.
Oh no.
I want to hear.
Leave the room immediately.
But I feel I'm with you. That's why I don't go there this
What
early
song
in the
was that?
morning. That was something. something.
What song was that?
Something I have been.
Sir,
Something
that
I
sounded
have
like
been-
some Sesame Street.
That's something I've been working
Womp,
on.
womp, womp.
But yeah, I hear you. I don't go there early this morning.
Oh, it's
anyways.
good that
Yeah,
a couple
it's
artists can connect.
You
like
know,
that.
you know,
This
songwriters.
is just like you and Michael McDonald on stage.
Yeah,
together.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, the first time like I performed with Mike and I had in-ears in, and he started singing, I about freaked out.
That's crazy.
I mean, imagine somebody you've been hearing your whole life. I mean, the first time I saw Michael McDonald was on What's Happening
So this is
With the-
you're not
was
just
on
playing
What's
that.
Happening.
with the
Get the
Doobie Brothers
tape.
when Rerun got
Get the
busted
tape.
for trying to record, and they were talking about bootlegging recordings. Come on,
We're
man.
gonna find this episode.
Come on,
We're
man.
gonna find this episode.
Are you guys not
Well,
going to
that
do
was still going on back then.
That was hot, bro.
gosh.
And Rerun was jumping up and down, and the tape recorder fell out. And they stopped in the concert, and the Doobie Brothers was like, "Hey, man, I thought you were our friend." It's like, these men made me do it.
I can't believe you guys aren't going to bust out some Modest Mouth for Brian. That's just something that
That's
you
what,
usually do.
we'll say that for
That's
later.
the mouth band.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
that's mouth.
Such a long way to go.
Take them home, Brian.
That's nice. It is the night. I'm at his feet. I'm on the run. No time to sleep. Gonna ride like the wind.
I'm never doing this show again. This is amazing.
Yes. Yes.
Cut his mic, Brian.
Oh, he's getting sauce.
We're doing it that night. We're doing it that
Whoa!
No,
you
no,
just
no,
got
no,
it
no, no,
I'm
no.
back.
Oh,
No, no, no.
Where was I?
oh my
Say,
gosh.
we're doing it that night after the show.
To
When everyone
celebrate-
has gone.
to celebrate, right?
Everyone is
in the
gone.
parking lot.
Oh, one more time, the 29th. Go to
Sorry, I
the
blacked out.
website. Check out Brian's new album. Support him, lifeartsinc.org. And again, that's A Night for Life community celebration and Michael McDonald tribute concert. Get your tickets online. Donate. Brian, an absolute pleasure to have you, man.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you
me,
so
man.
much.
This is a good way to start a Tuesday.
Absolutely.
Excellent,
Shout out
excellent.
to Erica for making this happen. For
What's
the
it,
Cranesburg.
woo?
That's
Yeah,
right. Guys,
yeah.
that's it for today. Chris Denman, Travis Terrell, Chris Gardner, and the great Brian Owens. We're back tomorrow live
Preach.
at 8 a.m. We'll see you then.
Deuces.